These are the words of the covenant which Yahweh commanded Moshe to make with the children of Israel in the land of Moab, besides the covenant which he made with them in Horeb. And Moshe called all Israel, and said to them, You yourselves saw all that Yahweh did before your eyes in the land of Mitzrayim, to Pharaoh and to all his servants, and to all his land. Your eyes saw the great trials, the signs, and those great wonders. But Yahweh has not given you a heart to know, and eyes to see, and ears to hear, till this day. And I have led you 40 years in the wilderness. Your garments have not worn out on you, and your sandals have not worn out on your feet. You ate no bread, and drank no wine, nor strong drink, so that you might know that I am Yahweh your Elohim. And when you came to this place, Sihon, sovereign of Heshbon, and Og, sovereign of Bashan, came out against us to battle, and we struck them, and took their land, and gave it as an inheritance to the Reubenites, and to the Gadites, and to half the tribe of Manasseh. Therefore you shall guard the words of this covenant, and do them, so that you prosper in all that you do. All of you who are standing today before Yahweh your Elohim, your leaders, your tribes, your elders, and your officers, all the men of Israel, your little ones, your wives, and your sojourner, who is in the midst of your camp, from the one who cuts your wood to the one who draws your water, so that you should enter into covenant with Yahweh your Elohim, and into his oath which Yahweh your Elohim makes with you today, in order to establish you today as a people for himself, and he himself be your Elohim, as he has spoken to you, and as he has sworn to your fathers, to Abraham, to Yitzchak, and to Yaakov. And not with you alone I am making this covenant and this oath, but with him who stands here with us today before Yahweh our Elohim, as well as with him who is not here with us today. For you know how we dwelt in the land of Mitzrayim, and how we passed through the nations which you have passed through. And you saw their abominations and their idols, wood and stone, silver and gold, which were with them, lest there should be among you a man or woman or clan or tribe, whose heart turns away today from Yahweh our Elohim, to go and serve the mighty ones of these nations, lest there should be among you a root bearing bitterness or wormwood. And it shall be, when he hears the words of this curse, that he should bless himself in his heart, saying, I have peace, though I walk in the stubbornness of my heart, in order to add drunkenness to thirst. Yahweh would not forgive him, but rather the displeasure of Yahweh and his jealousy shall burn against that man, and every curse that is written in this book shall settle on him. And Yahweh shall blot out his name from under the heavens, and Yahweh shall separate him for evil out of all the tribes of Israel, according to all the curses of the covenant that are written in this book of the Torah. And the congregation to come of your children who rise up after you, and the foreigner who comes from a far land, shall say when they see the plagues of that land, and the sicknesses which Yahweh has sent into it, all its land is sulphur, salt, and burning. It is not sown, nor does it bear, nor does any grass grow there, like the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah, Admah and Zeboim, which Yahweh overthrew in his displeasure and his wrath. And all nations shall say, Why has Yahweh done so to this land? What does the heat of this great displeasure mean? And it shall be said, Because they have forsaken the covenant of Yahweh Elohim of their fathers, which he made with them when he brought them out of the land of Mitzrayim. And they went and served other mighty ones, and bowed themselves to them, mighty ones that they did not know, and that he had not given to them. Therefore the displeasure of Yahweh burned against this land, to bring on it every curse that is written in this book. And Yahweh uprooted them from their land in displeasure, and in wrath, and in great rage, and cast them into another land, as it is today. The secret matters belong to Yahweh our Elohim, but what is revealed belongs to us and to our children forever, to do all the words of this Torah. And it shall be, when all these words come upon you, the blessing and the curse which I have set before you, and you shall bring them back to your heart among all the nations where Yahweh your Elohim drives you, and shall turn back to Yahweh your Elohim, and obey his voice, according to all that I command you today, with all your heart and with all your being, you and your children, then Yahweh your Elohim shall turn back your captivity, and shall have compassion on you, and he shall turn back and gather you from all the peoples where Yahweh your Elohim has scattered you. If any of you are driven out to the farthest parts under the heavens, from there Yahweh your Elohim does gather you, and from there he does take you. And Yahweh your Elohim shall bring you to the land which your fathers possessed, and you shall possess it. And he shall do good to you, and increase you more than your fathers. And Yahweh your Elohim shall circumcise your heart, and the heart of your seed, to love Yahweh your Elohim with all your heart and with all your being, so that you might live. And Yahweh your Elohim shall put all these curses on your enemies and on those who hate you, who persecuted you. And you shall turn back and obey the voice of Yahweh, and do all his commands which I command you today. And Yahweh your Elohim shall make you have excess in all the work of your hand, in the fruit of your body, and in the fruit of your livestock, and in the fruit of your ground, for good. For Yahweh turns back to rejoice over you for good, as he rejoiced over your fathers, if you obey the voice of Yahweh your Elohim, to guard his commands and his laws which are written in this book of the Torah, if you turn back to Yahweh your Elohim with all your heart and with all your being. For this command which I am commanding you today is not too hard for you, nor is it far off. It is not in the heavens to say, Who shall ascend into the heavens for us, and bring it to us, and cause us to hear it, so that we do it? Nor is it beyond the sea to say, Who shall go over the sea for us, and bring it to us, and cause us to hear it, so that we do it? For the word is very near you, in your mouth and in your heart, to do it. See, I have set before you today life and good, and death and evil, in that I am commanding you today to love Yahweh your Elohim, to walk in his ways, and to guard his commands and his laws and his right rulings. And you shall live and increase, and Yahweh your Elohim shall bless you in the land which you go to possess. But if your heart turns away, and you do not obey, and shall be drawn away, and shall bow down to other mighty ones, and serve them, I have declared to you today that you shall certainly perish. You shall not prolong your days in the land which you are passing over the Yarden to enter and possess. I have called the heavens and the earth as witnesses today against you. I have set before you life and death, the blessing and the curse. Therefore you shall choose life, so that you live, both you and your seed, to love Yahweh your Elohim, to obey his voice, and to cling to him. For he is your life, and the length of your days, to dwell in the land which Yahweh swore to your fathers, to Abraham, to Yitzchak, and to Yaakov, to give them.